Right, so how do you logistically go on holiday every 6 weeks? Or maybe you don't want to go on holiday every 6 weeks, you want to go travelling for half the year. How do you do that while still running a property business? Well, let's get into some nitty gritty details, and I'm going to be a little bit like a Blue Peter presenter. One of the first things that I'd highly recommend, should you wish to run your property business whilst it's still growing, whilst you are travelling around the world, is first of all, something like this. Oh, no, I got stuck on there. Something like this. Exhibit a portable printer. So this is an amazing little nifty guy, which opens up like this. Small enough to fit in a suitcase, and you've just got to take some paper around with you. This can link up to your laptop and means that you can print documents wherever you are, even though you're out of the office. So whilst I'll come on to another thing in a moment that you can use to sign documents remotely. A lot of lenders, if you're working with banks, a lot of lenders are still stuck in the dark ages where only a wet signature will do. So in those cases, if you can get hold of a copy of whatever that documentation is, the mortgage offer for example, print it out on here, whack a wet signature on it, and then you can pop it in the post. Now obviously if you are far away from the UK, that post will still take time, but if you're away for a while, it's still going to be quicker than waiting to come home, then do a wet signature after printing on your home printer, so that can keep the process going in your absence. So get yourself one of these. I think it was about, how much was it, Dave? About 180 quid or something for this? About 180 pounds for this. So it's been brilliant. It fits in our little suitcases. So that's number one. Number two is get something like DocuSign or Sign Now. Now some of the bigger organisations are getting on board with electronic signatures. So things like, or even things like tenancy agreements, you can still sign these using an electronic online platform such as DocuSign or Sign Now. These things you can use on your phone, so the document just comes up on that platform, you can sign it electronically, and that again can mean the process can keep going. So I would always try and do that first of all where you can, and where that fails then you can revert to your nifty little printer to do the rest. The third thing that I'd recommend is to ensure that you have an online filing system. So just going to show you here. So here's some examples of what you can have. So things like the OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive. So the main one that we use is the OneDrive. This is used by everyone in the little organisation, and there's a whole online filing system for all the different areas of the business, through from sourcing to acquisitions to all the different types of properties to financials to the team stuff that we need to do. All the systems and process stuff all gets written on there. All the important documents that we need for the business are available. So no matter where you are in the world, no matter what problem or question comes up, the answers are at your fingertips in your cloud drive. So I'd highly recommend starting to use that. Don't just have it on a hard drive on your computer in your office, because if you are travelling around the world or you're away on holiday, that's the sort of thing that can be quite stressful, or even in a paper file, which I'll come on to in a moment. If you keep a lot of paperwork in files physically in your office, again, you're not going to have easy access to them. So I can remember once, and I cannot remember what the document was, but we had to get, because it was held in our home office, a document, whatever it was, we had to actually get the cleaners who clean our house to come round, and we had to explain to them where to find this document in the filing system and then send it over to us. So obviously complete massive faff that could have been easily prevented had we been fully paperless and online. So just get into the habit of saving all your files on an online cloud drive. Make sure everyone that works for you has access to the folders that they need to do that for you too. So that's the next part. And then the final part to this is, maybe you're like me and you had files and files of paperwork, and you might be in a situation like us where you need a document and you can't access it. Two things that we did. One was we got all those files that we had, all that paperwork, and we paid a company to literally scan all of it in for us. It cost us a few £100s to do it because it was a lot of paperwork, but it literally meant that everything, well, A, that was clogging up a lot of space, and space obviously costs money, can then be taken out of those and put onto an online filing system so that we can access it to wherever in the world. So that's what you can do for your retrospective stuff. And then for stuff moving forwards, I would highly recommend investigating a virtual office. So if you don't have an office address where all of your posts can come, and if you're away, someone can still open it and action things for you or send it on to you, then you can have a look into what's called a virtual office. And this is where you have a receptionist who works, normally they're like those companies where there's lots of different businesses working in one space. You can hire a little space in the little co-working office, and you can have your posts sent to this place, and you have a receptionist there that opens your mail, scans it in for you, and sends it to you. So this is what we've set up. So all of our mail goes to our office address, it's open there, it's all scanned in, and it's emailed to a specific email account for our business, post@TomesHomes. Don't email us there because that's just for post. And then all that post gets picked up and electronically filed. So whereas before there was physical filing to do in the office, there's not anymore. Now everything's electronic, it gets put onto the OneDrive and frequently backed up to a physical hard drive too. But that's brilliant because it means no matter where you are in the world, you are still getting your post, and you don't come back to a mountain of post this big when you come back home. So there you go, there's a few real tactical detail things that you can do to give yourself that freedom to be able to go travelling. So portable printer, use something like DocuSign or SignNow, make sure all your files are on a cloud-based system that can be accessed from wherever, and use a virtual office or get all of your old paperwork scanned in and onto the cloud too. Not sexy stuff, but really important, and they really will give you that freedom to be able to fly. Enjoy. Questions, comments, feedback, just comment below.